Number 100, Chrono Trigger. Opening the list with the legendary Chrono Trigger, an innovative turn-based RPG for its time, highly influential and extremely beloved out there. Number 99, Final Fantasy IV. Another really important and innovative game, the first one to focus a lot on its narrative. Simple battle mechanics, easy to get into, any version of this game belongs here, but SNES and PSP are the best ones. Number 98, Suikoden. The start of my favorite JRPG series ever, and also an extremely unique and original video game. One of the very first in existence to feature 6 party members during battle. Number 97, Dragon Quest V. Certainly one of the most popular Dragon Quest games ever. The version I played is the Nintendo DS remake many years ago. Cool turn-based combat, but it definitely shines in its character progression story. Number 96, Yakuza Like a Dragon. The new arc in the legendary beat-em-up series, now a turn-based RPG saga that took us all by surprise. And, well, it turned out to be surprisingly good as well, with a really creative battle system. Number 95, Wild Arms 3. This lovely PS2 game is often overlooked, even though it's a perfect JRPG for beginners. PS4 version is nice too, with upscale graphics and that beautiful cel shading art style. Number 94, The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. The start of the quite popular Trails series, soon to be remade. I played the PSP version, but it's also on Steam. A remaster on PS Vita exists, but only in Japan. Number 93, Xenogears. Another super legendary game with a very creative battle system based on combos and a killer story most people still praise nowadays. Number 92, I Am Setsuna. This little RPG by defunct company Tokyo RPG Factory didn't do much noise, but it was a beautiful adventure with memorable music and simple battle mechanics with a twist. Love it. Number 91, Romancing Saga. This is a full remake of the Super Famicom game we never got, but with beautiful visuals, excellent soundtrack, and of course, a cool battle system based on strategy more so than levels. Number 90, Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne. A dark experience with multiple routes and endings, and the first true SMT game to ever reach our lands. It was our introduction to the amazing press-turn combat system the series is known for. Number 89, Breath of Fire. The start of a nowadays defunct series, simple, engaging, grindy. It's a good game despite not being among the best ones out there. Number 88, Lunar the Silver Star. More beginnings here. This game originally seen in the Sega CD, later remade on PS1, GBA, and PSP, each version being quite different from the others. PSP is my favorite version of this game. Number 87, Final Fantasy VIII. Previously beloved, nowadays hated, it still needed to be here, despite having a convoluted combat that seemed easy at first, punishing gamers at later stages. Number 86, Fuga, Melodies of Steel. Developed by Dot Hack creators CyberConnect 2, it's a beautiful game with an extremely creative combat system under the command of a tank and its 3 different cannons, each controlled by a pair of kids. Very original RPG here, man. Number 85, Persona 5. Well, it's Persona 5, a game that managed to become incredibly popular in less than a decade. As a turn-based RPG, it delivers a challenging and satisfying combat. Number 84, Earthbound. Earthbound is a game I couldn't get into, but because of its popularity and importance out there, I decided to include it. This one's for you guys. Number 83, Valkyrie Profile. This classic RPG influenced a ton of RPGs, especially indies, with its 2D looks and gameplay mechanics. It certainly offers a battle interface rarely seen before, based on combo attacks with limited use. Masterpiece. Number 82, Atelier Ryza. This thick game launched the series into commercial success with a combat system a la old Final Fantasy, making you choose your actions in real time. 2 sequels were released soon after, but I haven't played them. Number 81, Devil Summoner Soul Hackers. A dungeon crawler in first person brimming with personality with a combat system that's a bit more traditional instead of classic press turn system from the main SMT series. We only got this 3DS remaster though. Number 80, Legend of Legaia. Nowadays, a forgotten and overlooked gem with unique combat based on creating combos with the D-pad. That's right, it's also a really challenging game. Number 79, Phantasy Star. Not a fan of this game at all, but it's one of the big 3, the 3 legendary turn-based JRPGs that established the genre and influenced everything. Number 78, Wild Arms. A very wholesome game with humble mechanics, graphics and combat. I like the arm system, having to reload to fire, and also the magic system being handled in a limited spree. Great game here. Number 77, Mana Khemia. This is considered as part of the Atelier series, but it's very different from those, as in it's more story-driven and adventure-driven, but that battle system is simple yet engaging, awesome with great music to accompany every battle. Number 76, Pokemon Red and Blue. I'm not a fan of Pokemon at all, but at least one needed to be here, right? I felt this one was perfect to represent the entire series simply because it's the beginning of them all. Number 75, Octopath Traveler. Brutal grindfest inspired by Squaresoft's Saga series. This one has addicting combat mechanics where enemies have elemental shields for you to break and exploit weaknesses. Number 74, Persona 2, Innocent Sin. The second game in the Persona series, it came out on PS1 exclusive to Japan. Later, the rest of the world got its enhanced port on PSP. Combat interface is a bit dated, but it's still fun summoning your personas or recruiting them. Number 73, Trails of Cold Steel. Cold Steel 1 came as a brand new arc with more modern graphics and enhanced battle mechanics. You could move around more freely and plan your strategies better, resulting in a more balanced experience. Number 72, Lost Sphere. Another lovely game with a regular battle system with a small twist. You can position your characters within their turns to plan your trajectories better. It's a lot of fun. Number 71, Grandia 2. A great game with dark comedy and unusual humor. This one has a great turn-based battle system relying on cancelling an enemy's turn or delaying it. It's awesome! Number 70, Monochrome Mobius. Part of the Uta Wareru Mono series, but the only one that's not a strategy RPG. This is a traditional style turn-based game with a combat system precisely inspired by the Grandia series. Number 69, Batten Kaitos. A unique JRPG that uses cards as everything from healing to guarding to attacking. It's all a matter of knowing which ones to use first out of the decks you get. Very creative game with gorgeous visuals and killer plot. Number 68, Shadow Hearts. A dark gothic adventure, also with some unusual humor. Everyone knows that Judgment Ring system where you need to click the button within the colored areas to make your attacks work. This is a criminally underrated game. Number 67, The Alliance Alive. With a story written by Suikoden creator Yoshitaka Murayama years before he died, this one also takes inspiration from the Saga series, but more so in the stat increases instead of a leveling system and a weapon breaking mechanic. It was remastered on PS4 and Switch not long ago. Number 66, Hexis Force. Just like The Alliance Alive, this one manages a few different formations based on grids, but the combat is traditional. I love its dual protagonist feature as well. It's an obscure game still exclusive to the PSP. Number 65, Blue Dragon. Sakaguchi's attempt to develop a turn-based RPG mixing Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest with Akira Toriyama and Nobuo Uematsu collaborating. Love the combat with the ability to use your big-ass dragons to attack. Number 64, Suikoden 3. A great game with multiple protagonists and a battle system that's still divisive nowadays. You can't control your 6 party members, instead you control pairs and can only decide one's actions. This is why it's interesting but brutal at the same time. Number 63, Wild Arms 2. This sequel didn't waste time improving battle mechanics, exploration and storytelling. It's a great follow-up that did everything right, in my opinion. Number 62, The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie. In terms of combat, I've said this before, this is the best Trails game ever made. Taking every single little mechanic featured in all of its predecessors, mixing them to perfection. One of the best combat systems in JRPG history here. Number 61, Xenosaga. Xenosaga delivered an incredibly well-written sci-fi story as a successor to Xenogears. Its combat was simple but also with a small twist that evolved as the trilogy progressed. Yeah, it's good. Number 60, Final Fantasy. Another one of the big three, the legendary start of the most popular JRPG series of all time. I like its combat more than its two iconic brothers. Number 59, Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals. The prequel of the series, excellent with traditional combat with great visuals, especially for the enemies. This is another criminally underrated RPG. Number 58, Legend of Dragoon. This is one of the very few classics out there where its combat relies on timed attacks to make more damage. It was also a long adventure with great storytelling and character development. Number 57, Blue Reflection Second Light. Well, I haven't played the first one, so I'm including its fantastic sequel instead. Girls lost in a deserted world struggling to get their memories back. Combat with 3 of them in the style of Atelier Risa, as in you gotta decide your actions are real time. It's a heavily overlooked gem. Number 56, Soul Hackers 2. Love it or hate it, I don't care, I still wanted to include this game. Tons of personality and great visuals. I also enjoyed its battle system despite the lack of summoning demons, instead granting you different abilities. Number 55, Phantasy Star 4. The fourth and final title in the classic Genesis saga that took everything right from its predecessors and perfected it. This is one of the best 16-bit JRPGs of all time. Number 54, Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. The spiritual successor of the Suikoden series and the last game the creator worked on before passing away. Great combat system here, still with 6 playable allies, combination attacks, rune attacks, etc. Everything you want from classic Suikoden is here, except a good translation. Number 53, Art Tonelico, Melody of Alamia. This is another overlooked game, part of a small series. Despite its fan service, the story is rich with lore and cool twists. As a turn-based RPG, it's great that you have a few characters fighting and guarding the main heroines as they finish casting their powerful magics. Number 52, Trails of Cold Steel 2. The sequel was more intense and to the point than its predecessor, improving the battle mechanics but staying faithful, one of the best direct sequels ever made. Number 51, Atelier Iris 2. Speaking about sequels, this indirect one, I think it's the best Atelier game ever made, with 2 protagonists, the feeling of adventure, epic story, and great combat as well. Number 50, Shin Megami Tensei 4. Still exclusive to the 3DS as of the making of this video, press turn system is back with your protagonist and his plethora of demons. Incredible story and soundtrack here. Number 49, Persona 2, Eternal Punishment. The third Persona game, a follow-up to Innocent Sin, now with Maya as the silent protagonist. This got a backwards treatment. We did get the PS1 version, but not the PSP remaster. Number 48, Mana Khemia 2. Whoa, this one is better than the first one, not just for having 2 different protagonists, but for making crafting and battle system a bit more balanced. It's a really solid combat here with awesome music. Number 47, Grandia. Grandia is the charming star of a very iconic series, still a bit underrated nowadays. And yes, this is the one that introduced that influential combat I spoke of before, that only got better with each entry. Number 46, Exist Archive. A Tri-Ace and Spike Chunsoft collaboration featuring some teens dying and appearing in an unknown planet. As you can see, the battle system is one of those where you act first, creating combos a la Valkyrie Profile, and then the enemy. It's a good game. Number 45, Trails from Zero. The second arc in the Trail series begins with this one with a bunch of police officers in charge of the story. See that combat? Well, it's a good evolution of the one seen in the Sky trilogy. Number 44, Trails to Azure. Yeah, the direct sequel to Zero. So, the combat follows the same formula, but the interface is quicker, the mechanics are improved, and the all-out attacks were a neat feature to include. We only got the remastered versions of these 2 games on Switch and PS4. Oh, and Steam. Number 43, Breath of Fire 3. After the divisive mess that was 2, Capcom made this PS1 classic with character progression and a battle system that, while not that unique, still captured the charm of the series. Number 42, Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey. Long as hell dungeon crawler in first person, still with great battle mechanics and a bunch of demons under your command. It also has a very mature plot. Number 41, Final Fantasy X. This was a big deal when it came out in the early 2000s. The combat seemed greater than ever with no real-time shenanigans, and being able to switch between characters whenever you needed to was great. Number 40, Super Robot Taisen OG Saga Endless Frontier. One of the very few turn-based JRPGs in the saga, developed by Xenoblade Studio Monolith Soft and inspired by Namco Cross Capcom, also developed by them. It's all about creating multiple combos and combination attacks with your party roster. This is an awesome game, man. Number 39, Death End Request. Combining visual novel with RPG, each genre with its own protagonist, this one by Compile Heart delivered a great battle system. One where you hit your enemies and send them flying across the battlefield for more damage. Yeah, look at this, it's awesome! Number 38, Atelier Shally. Oh boy, dual protagonist, killer soundtrack, great visuals, and this combat system is the best in the Atelier series, with different features such as chain attacks and burst modes. I love it. Number 37, Baten Kaitos Origins. I admit I liked the first one more because in this one you needed to act faster in battle, therefore making the game more challenging. It's still awesome though, and the story once again did not disappoint. Number 36, Valkyrie Profile 2, Silmeria. I've explained and probably over-explained this game's battle mechanics too many times before. You already know it's my second favorite JRPG of all time, and it's a beautiful hybrid that makes it extremely unique. Number 35, Dragon Warrior. As the first JRPG of its kind ever made, one of the big three turn-based RPGs, it just needed to be here. Oh, and did you know it's also known as Dragon Quest? Number 34, Arc Rise Fantasia. A Wii exclusive with terrible English dub, but a great story and gameplay. This is one where you either choose everyone's actions at first during battle, or use all of your entire turn with only one character. Yeah, very challenging game here. Number 33, Trails of Cold Steel 3. Certainly an improvement over the graphics and interface, the story continued with more intriguing events, and the combat mechanics kept showing more new additions to them that made battles more engaging. Number 32, Shin Megami Tensei 5. The latest entry in the SMT mainline universe, one where the press turn system returned impeccably with cool animations and demon design. Number 31, Art Tonelico 2, Melody of Metaphalica. Those names, man, those names. Yeah, it's a sequel, but almost standalone with storytelling that goes dark here and there. However, combat was more about button mashing to have characters attack constantly until the enemy's turn. It tried to be different, I like that. Number 30, Dragon Quest VIII. Here's the universally praised level 5 masterpiece, often considered as one of the best in the series. Gorgeous cel-shading graphics and classic Dragon Quest combat. Number 29, Fuga, Melodies of Steel 2. Yes, there exists a sequel, and actually a third game is planned. It's more of the same, but that's okay since the gameplay mechanics and battle were so damn addicting in the first place. Number 28, Eternal Sonata. This is another unique video game that combines action with turn-based, as you gotta take your characters towards the enemy during their turn to execute as many combos as you can. This is an overly beautiful and underrated game. Number 27, Persona 4. Yup, Persona 4, another one of the most popular JRPGs nowadays with addicting mechanics and a turn-based combat where you can finally control your party members. Number 26, Trails in the Sky 2. Direct sequel, Chapter 2, it's the exact same game but reaching a top tier conclusion. As for gameplay and battle, the same mechanics returned, but I felt they were slightly improved. Number 25, Final Fantasy VII. This obscure game is a hybrid that mixes strategy, action, roguelike, and turn-based in an overly bizarre and unique way like no other you've ever seen. Look at it! I don't even know how to explain this! What sorcery is this? Have you ever heard of this game before? Number 24, Breath of Fire 4. My favorite in the franchise, with that outdated isometric view but super detailed pixel art. Very conceptual, great battle mechanics, two parties in control back and front. Yeah, this is a really good game. Number 23, Wild Arms 5. And this is also my favorite in this particular series. Look at the combat system with those elemental hexes, adding more strategic values to your movement and planning. Criminally underrated game here. Number 22, Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse. This direct sequel to 4 is excellent. I don't care what anyone says, it's my favorite turn-based SMT game, period. Number 21, Dragon Quest XI. Here's a game that took me by surprise and turned me into a Dragon Quest fan. I've known the series for decades but never really appreciated it until this great JRPG came out. Number 20, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Direct sequel to Yakuza 7, which I covered earlier today. Two protagonists this time around, switching between them for every chapter. More turn-based fun with new moves and combination attacks. It's excellent. Number 19, Golden Sun. Nintendo and Shining Force developers wanted a love letter to all those 8-bit and 16-bit classics, so Golden Sun was born with traditional gameplay and battle mechanics. Great duology here. Number 18, Digital Devil Saga. Another great duology is by Atlus within the SMT franchise. Controversial and dark, but instead of summoning demons, well, you are the demons, eating other demons to get more powerful. Cool, huh? Number 17, Death End Request 2. This obscure sequel is extremely dark and disturbing with tons of horror elements involved. In terms of combat, it carried over the same mechanics but with more magic circles to buff your characters better. Number 16, Trails in the Sky the Third. It felt more like a spin-off, but a damn well spin-off than a third entry. It's a dungeon crawler, just not in first person, but the same type of combat made me enjoy it a lot. Japan got it on PSP and PS Vita, but we only got the Steam version. Number 15, Final Fantasy IX. My favorite in the series, great cast of characters, story in multiple points of view. Finally, the party with 4 allies came back better than ever. Number 14, Octopath Traveler 2. Not a sequel, but a standalone title. We meet once again 8 different protagonists within the same combat mechanics as before. Another masterpiece. Number 13, Suikoden 2. This is the legendary Suikoden 2 that offered improved battle mechanics in all 3 areas, keeping the 6 party members tradition alive. Number 12, Radiant Historia. You can travel back in time for a bit just to alter events and prevent tragedies, so it's a game with multiple endings, but that combat system stars masterfully by moving the enemies around to hit them all at the same time. It's great! Number 11, Grandia 3. You can say whatever the hell you want about the story, the rest is untouchable, including of course its turn-based combat. It improved greatly, offering better interface, controls, and battle animations. Number 10, Fate Extra. You fight in a tournament here, training your servant as much as you can within a time limit. To do that, you'll go into short labyrinths and fight in turn-based battles. The goal is to guess your opponent's actions so you can counter them in a rock paper scissors type of mechanic. It's awesome and a remake of it will be released next year. Number 9, Super Mario RPG. Both the original and the remake versions are just as phenomenal. Gotta love that turn-based combat with timed attacks to do more damage, being one of the very first ones in history to do so. Number 8, Shadow Hearts Covenant. What, you didn't know that underrated PS2 classic had a sequel? Well, it does, and a direct one no less. This one is more balanced with its Judgment Ring battle system, so it's great for beginners, but you gotta play the first one first. Number 7, Persona 3. Any version out there of this game, it doesn't matter, they all have different flaws and problems, I know, but overall it's the same masterpiece I passionately love. Number 6, Trails of Cold Steel 4. This 4th chapter in the 3rd Trails arc is simply horrible! But I just put it here because I love it so much. No, I'm just kidding, it's superb, it wrapped things up pretty good and the combat was just supreme, just getting better and better! Number 5, Suikoden 5. The best Suikoden game, the longest, the most wholesome, fulfilling and engaging. It's also really challenging with many different formations for your 6 party members. Someday Konami will have to release this PS2 exclusive somewhere else. Number 4, Lost Odyssey. This is what me and many other folks out there call the true Final Fantasy XIII, because it's from someone who still knew back then what Final Fantasy meant. And that's all I have to say of this game. Yeah, you already know it's a masterpiece. Number 3, Xenosaga 3. The conclusion of the trilogy and the best one of them all. No more nasty spikes or convoluted battle systems, just simple, balanced, with a few twists in combat and an incredible wrap-up for the masterful story. Number 2, Final Fantasy VI. What can I say that hasn't been said about this all-time classic? It's an amazing story told through many different characters fighting in turn-based combat as a party of 4 each with very unique abilities. Yeah, masterpiece. Number 1, Time and Eternity. I told you the list will be in random order, and it is, but I couldn't put my favorite JRPG of all time in another place. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Of course not! Of course the first place is Chronocross! What the hell were you thinking?